Welcome to News Game Plus. Dermie and I'm here with New Game Plus executive producer Jason O'Callaghan, and you're not wearing pants again. What's going on?
Of course.
Like, seriously.
Assume if I'm sitting at this desk, I'm not wearing pants. It's the whole goddamn point of having a desk-high camera. Like, why would...
Yes, well, fortunately for those watching live, you are lucky. You are
I'm wearing like a long top. I'm wearing my Evangelion.
I appreciate you pulling your top over your
my
package.
genitals. It's fine.
That's very nice of you. Thanks for that.
No, because I've got my Evangelion underpants on, so it's like weeb undies too. So it doesn't matter.
It just doesn't get any better. Anyway, cool. Welcome to News Game Plus, the podcast with the name that everybody else
seems to love. Yeah,
to use.
For sure.
Yes. Anyway, I'll start with. We were talking before about Gears Tactics. Let's start with what game you've been playing recently. What have you been playing?
Call of Duty, but it's broken. It won't let me past a certain
normal or Warzone?
Nah, normal.
Okay.
Because I want to see if there's a mission where I can shoot Ronald Reagan in the head.
He's in it, isn't he?
He's in the
cutscenes.
Gentlemen, I know your mission is of the utmost. Man, this fucking trader over here who literally makes deals with Iran has the gall to fucking talk to me.
I got told by a prominent Australian journalist very, very aggressively at one point that was a conspiracy theory. Right? And this is a few years ago.
I mean, Bernard King's a fuckwit. I know it's Bernard
King. It wasn't him, actually. He is a dickhead. But no, it was one... You won't know who it is, right? You will, but you won't know that it was one I was... And they were very aggressive with me that that's a conspiracy theory. He goes, look, Jared, I used to believe it, but over the years I've come to the conclusion that it's just a conspiracy theory. And then those documents come out saying that it was actually real, and everyone goes, huh.
So they do it. They wait long enough. They made us shrug our shoulders at UFOs. They made us go, UFOs.
So this shits me about conspiracy theories, right? So I love conspiracy theories, right? I don't believe them all. I want to point that out. I've got friends that think I believe them all, but I think there is a big difference between the US government does deals with terrorists to get more power and more money and that. That's very different to saying the Earth is flat, right? One of those. It's
like just because I think the American government's capable of guile and deceit. Just look at South America for the last 150 years.
Yeah.
Right. Doesn't mean that there's all like. It doesn't mean I'm buying into the anti-Semitic lizard people.
They're all the same. This term just say all the same. So
that's the advantage of the American government. They'd love you to believe they were capable of orchestrating 9/11. Turns out they're just lazy and they'd spent so many years training terrorists that the terrorists turned around and used it against them.
I've always figured that they knew that was happening. They didn't do it, but they just let it happen because it was just suited larger aims.
The CIA definitely knew, but they weren't allowed to tell the FBI and all this bullshit. I'm like, bullshit. You can't tell me the CIA with all of its power couldn't have just walked up and just handed him a card and said, "Mom, we're looking at
well,
this."
They didn't feel like actually doing something
that's
anyway.
Exactly. That's what I mean. It's like, but they weren't allowed to share information. It's like, I don't think it matters if they're allowed to share information. I'm sure if that message wanted to get across, that message would have gotten across. Yeah. And because it didn't, I have to assume that you're lying. So,
Well, look, would rich and powerful people murder anybody for more money and more power?
Yes.
I mean, maybe.
I always love that it's like, the Rothschilds and the Bilderberg. No, rich cunts love money, and they will do anything they can to maintain that money.
Yeah.
And this idea that it's some cabal,
it's not a cabal. It's just people with similar interests.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Because it's like, but they're all still working together. Yes. When we used to do medieval war, the people that were taking over the new lands would be nice to the nobles, because then if they got thrown out, they'd expect the nobles to be nice to them. That was the unspoken rule, was that we won't gut you unless we have to, but you've then now got to pay fealty to us instead, because they knew that if it turned around again, there was another revolution and that a bunch of royalty survived, then that was going to be, that was going to happen in reverse. So that was just the unspoken gentleman's agreement.
So the people in charge are assholes. Hey, you talk gentleman's agreement. And I know this is not gaming, and we do it every time. We try every time we go, hey, you know what, this podcast, we should get straight into gaming news. Yeah, let's do that totally. Conspiracy theories. But anyway, I'll do the gaming news, but I do think people that conflate the whole thing together, that's stupid because the idea that people who are rich and powerful want to be more rich and powerful should not be a controversial thing to say. It's been proven true.
But Call of Duty.
You can shoot Ronald Reagan.
Call of Duty plays fine. It's crashing on me real hard in the story at the moment. So yeah,
Bush should be in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's early. He'd be head of the CIA at that point, so yeah, he should have been there.
Reagan, Bush.
Yeah,
she's had to make a good game.
Yeah,
are we on a watch
hunt
list
him
now?
down. Yeah.
I
always say, like, there's lots of things about the 80s that wasn't great, but the worst thing about the 80s was John Hinckley's aim. Like, yeah.
I'd go back and live in the 80s in a second if I could. Oh, man. Because I got to say, it's the last few decades are getting worse.
Yeah, but I mean, again, Ray, I would argue, Ray, it doesn't matter. Let's stop talking politics. Video games. Gears Tactics sounds fun.
Oh, yeah. My son's playing Call of Duty Warzone. And he's doing really good at the moment.
Yeah, he's got the reflexes for it.
Yeah, he's young. I can't. Well, see, so I play turn-based games because I'm old and I can't think or move quickly anymore.
It's got to be said, that was the one thing that Overwatch did well, that kind of class-based shooter did well, was that even if you can't like snipe well or play that aggressive style game, you can just play Reinhardt or whatever his name is and use the shield. You know what I mean? That was your job. So as an old bloke, you could do that because it was like you don't need reflexes for it. You can still take part in the defense. It's a tactical decision to do it. Those kind of characters, you can still play that kind of character. That was why Overwatch, as much as I don't like Blizzard, was such a revelation because it was like now everyone can play. It doesn't matter how old they are.
I wasn't allowed to because my son and I share the account, and I wasn't allowed to wreck his
KDA.
Right. So I played it. I was actually pretty shit at it. I tried a few characters, and basically got sacked by my son.
Yeah,
I mean, Dad, get off this. Don't play my game again.
But I would say it's similar to Plants vs Zombies in that. It's like there are so many different classes and different ways to play that you can figure out what 2 or 3 characters work for you. And just
there were 2 games he dominated. Yeah. He was very good at. But now it wasn't. But anyway, I've been playing Gears Tactics. Now, Gears Tactics is the sequel to XCOM that I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
I'm going to call it that because everything, the layout's the same. The intro to a mission when your characters are standing there. The 4 of them so far. Yeah. Hopefully, I can unlock a 5th or a 6th spot in my roster. But it all looks the same. Except the only difference is the skill trees. And the skill tree in XCOM had like 2 things.
It was just bubbles. Yeah.
Just 2, choose 1 or 2, and then back to 1 and then 2. Right. This one's got a full sort of gear style. All games do it now. This full skill tree, which I saw a video with Cliff Blazinski. Is that how you say his name? He was talking about it. He said that adding a skill tree and all those little weapon power ups you get keeps people playing games longer. So he said when they added that to I think Gears.
Yeah.
I haven't played Gears, so I'm just assuming he did because he made.
Gears is a good game. Like
I thought it would be slow.
Yeah.
But anyway, Gears Tactics are good. But he said you add them and people play for a lot longer than if you don't have a skill tree.
Yeah. So. Well, see, it's funny because Halo went the route of Halo Wars, which was an RTS, so that was a real-time strategy game where everything was going at the same time. Yeah. It was fine. It just...
it wasn't bad, but it wasn't Command and Conquer Generals.
Correct.
It's the best one. Best
anyway,
best
and so... But to Gears, it makes way more sense for it to be a tactical squad-based shooter because the game itself is a tactical squad-based shooter. You know what I mean? Like, if nothing else, like for all the talk of Gears, it's meatheads and all this. I'm like, it's a pretty good representation of basic squad tactics. Like, it was Full Spectrum Warrior was very serious on that. It's like kill zones and kill theaters and very military simulation. And Gears was that. It just wasn't more lighthearted. It just took it to that kind of different. Alien invasion kind of
that over the top stuff.
But at the same time, the core mechanics are still there as far as like take cover, grenades are there to flush people out, like all the basic things that you would expect out of squads. It was there in kind of space.
I suppose that all translates into a what would you call it? What genre would you call XCOM and Gears Tactics? Turn-based strategy.
Squad-based. What is it? There's a tactical. Turn-based,
It translates well into that.
Yeah.
I'm only in Act 2 now, so I'm still early. But the boss fight at the end of Act 1 is fantastic, and that's where it's stepped above XCOM as far as I'm concerned.
Because XCOM's boss fights are nearly always just one big enemy and then a bunch of people show up. Or something like
just overpowered as hell, bad guys. But this one had like a giant big walking thing that had arm-mounted machine guns and rocket launchers on his back, and it was really. Look, generally, if anybody liked XCOM, they're gonna like Gears Tactics. There's a few differences. When you do Overwatch, you have to set a funnel for your Overwatch, but
that makes more. That's technically how it should be, realistically.
Yeah, I'm used to just Overwatch, precision Overwatch.
But Overwatch was broken in XCOM. Most of the time, you wouldn't even do anything but Overwatch. Overwatch was a better chance of killing people.
Yeah, you let them come to you.
Yeah, you do the sniper with the he gets the accuracy bonus for not moving, and he gets the action point.
You want squad sight in XCOM, so he
can see what they see. Yeah,
and shoot anybody from anywhere in the battlefield. Yep. So far, the snipers in Gears Tactics are pretty underpowered.
But they were underpowered at the start of XCOM, first game.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. I had one sniper I got through the whole game, and I was in love with him.
Yeah, because
I sing. Oh, no, I love him.
Yeah, you put him into every match because it is never not a good time for a sniper. Do you know what I mean? Like,
No, with Squad Sight, you just have it, and when he had the jetpack and fly in the air, you just pop him up in the air in the corner of the battlefield, bang, bang, bang.
Because I had that happen with Mutiny Zero as well. So Mutiny Zero is another great game like that. Set like it's basically kind of like Fallout Tactics, if you will. So it's set in like a post-apocalyptic world, but it's Sweden. And so these mutated there was Fallout Tactics. There was a Brotherhood of Steel was Tactics, the one on PS2 I think.
Okay.
But the old games were. The old games only had that.
Fallout 1 and 2. But yeah, okay, I'm thinking recent. But anyway, keep going.
Anyway, but yeah, Mutiny Zero was another one in that style of game that's really good. I really enjoyed it. You're playing as a duck and a pig and so all these random animals. But it works. Like it's you realize you're mutated and like the story comes up. I hope they make a second one because the first one was really good.
So the best game based off a George Orwell novel.
Except that the pig was pig is the lowest class. Well, I guess that's how it starts in Animal House. Animal
It's the most equal class.
Farm.
Yeah, Animal Farm.
Jesus, I went to everything. You
still got to get
John Belushi. Yeah,
you still got to get the right Animal Farm.
Yeah, that's true. So that's how you know you're an old. That's how you know you're a boomer, man. Because that's an old meme. Like, yeah, I bridge that gap between boomer memes and Zoomer memes, and I know both of them. So
I was trying to explain it to somebody. I was trying to Google that Animal Farm.
Yeah, and doesn't exist anymore on the internet.
You
can find it.
Yeah,
eBums World and Live Leak and all that. Yeah,
you find mentions of it everywhere, but it was a very interesting night of googling.
Well, I mean, that was like, and the other old man memes of Faces of Death, like that was a thing that existed for the longest time. Which was basically, you don't know Faces of Death? You came from Geelong. It was like basically all the footage of like executions in like Thailand and Cambodia and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, well we watched Killing of America and Shocking Asia, and so is that sort of
it's just like candid like actual Gonzo footage of
Killing of America had a lot of that stuff, and it had the JFK thing before most other people said.
There's a Zapruder film,
and Shocking Asia had like a
Shocking Asia was the other one from
sex change operation.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know why when you're a kid you want to watch that shit, but there you go.
Yeah, but I mean that was the early days of the internet, Rotten.com and stuff like that.
Yeah, basically it was. Yeah. I suppose nobody should be surprised at what people look at on the internet, considering we used to do it by sharing videos, and we used to do a good job.
VHS,
Sneaking it, we used to call it. Anyway, let's do a gaming news.
Sure.
Remember games?
I do.
Okay, so what was Gears Tactics? Gears Tactics, I recommend anyone who likes XCOM. All right. Okay, I'm going to start with a story because I want to open with this story forever, and I just want to tell it over and over again. Avengers. I wrote too small today. I think my glasses. My writing's too small. Avengers. Basically, it hadn't turned a profit. So in 2 months, they haven't made their money back on the development of Avengers yet.
I did try and help that for your sake because I know you care so much fondly about the Avengers. You don't even have it here, do you?
I put it up.
Put it in the bin.
I put it over there when you handed it to me.
Dermie's now the owner of a copy of Marvel Avengers.
I'm going to put it with the Trump pen you gave me a little while ago.
That Trump pen was...
When you press the end, it says Trump phrases.
Like, for all the shit I give Americans, that Trump pen was very well made. Like, it is a good writing pen.
When the hell are you going to use it?
Except to accidentally bump his head. He'd be like, I will be the greatest president. Like, it's just,
I'm so rich or something like that.
Yeah. You know what you should do? You should replace the voice box from it with the voice box from the Duke Nukem heads. And so as you bump it, it goes, hey, I can see my dick from here.
I love the Duke Nukem heads. I've still got 9 of them sitting on my desk.
We finally got rid of them. It was like Tribbles. We finally got rid of them. Like, so
if didn't you have a box of them if you bumped them, they'd all start talking.
You go to lift something in the back there, it's like, whoa, I can see my dick from here.
Yeah, when my son was really young, he found him and he loved it because he said, you can see my dick from here. Because it said dick, he'd be pressing that all the time trying to line it up.
Gotta help, kiss my butt.
Make all 9 of them say that at the same time. Where was I going? Okay, Avengers. Thank you for... Now, what Jason was getting at is Jason gave me a present, which was a copy of Avengers for the Xbox.
Yes.
One X, thank you. I appreciate it.
Your kids can play. Get your kids on it. See if they prefer that or Deus Ex.
Okay, but apparently, let's get back to the good stuff. So Square Enix apparently has lost 7 billion euros.
Well, was it last week we were talking about the rumours about them potentially selling out to Ubisoft?
Yeah, you know what I reckon should happen. I'm going to go with some theories of what I reckon's going on. Firstly, Ubisoft came up in the next sort of story I'll get to, but they may or may not. But you know who I reckon should be looking at it right now? who's under buying Microsoft.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if you bought Tomb Raider, Just Cause, and Deus Ex, and Deus Ex is a franchise, and it might get giggles and that stuff. Yeah. As a franchise, it's got a dedicated fan base of me, but there are other me's out there and it's a franchise that after they finished Human Revolution, they took the team off and did Thief. Yeah. Right? And Thief didn't do a thing, right? Yeah. And then
because they turned Thief into like this weird... Yeah, it was just not what... People played Thief for the hardcore stealth of it. And if you're not going to do hardcore stealth, then it's not really a Thief game. You know what I mean? Like,
and after Mankind Divided, they took the team off to do Avengers, right? So basically, so far you'd say Deus Ex as a franchise has been hopelessly mismanaged. Yeah. A game comes out every 5 or 6 years. Yeah. Every time they make a game, they take the team off to do something else.
That's EDOS summed up.
Like, so their management are just idiots. I was going to use another word, but let's go with idiots, right? Yeah. So if you were something like Microsoft, you could really work that franchise to a point where Deus Ex right now. See, I believe a game, and this Beyond Good and Evil falls into the same boat here, right? A game about conspiracies and about that, I reckon right now has a market. Yeah. I reckon right now a stealth game about government conspiracies and Illuminati
with the human touch on it as well, because there's good human interactions. Like Saren is it Saren? What's his name? David? What's the
Seraph?
Saren. Like that's from Mass Effect.
It's also from Lord of the Rings.
No, that's Sauron.
And Tokyo Subway.
Yeah. But I mean, Sauron was the best character in Mass Effect, but also Sara's his interactions with Adam and the agency that Adam Jensen had over him becoming a robot. I mean, that's one of the main conspiracy points.
It was a father-son relationship where he, in at least Human Revolution, stepped out from his dad's shadow in a way. And the relationship between him and Pritchard, this is where Mankind Divided went wrong. They didn't have Pritchard because the relationship between the brute and the tech guy was also really well done. Yeah. But look, I just think in this current time of look, it's no surprise that conspiracy theories are running rampant. We're talking about it before. I think there's a market there, being cynical or not, for that style of game that a proper company in charge of Deus Ex could make boatloads of cash. Yeah, I just think.
Cardi's saying you've got Cyberpunk coming soon.
I know. Look, really keen on that. They've actually said they won't delay it because the investors are starting to get antsy. And in the end, they talk about gamers. They go, gamers, there's death threats and all this stuff, right? No. The ones they worry about is the investors. They're the ones that, and the investors they're just rich idiots basically. So they're the ones I worry about.
To me, I genuinely, the more I look at Cyberpunk, the less. I'm less convinced it's going to be a good game. Every time I see it, I'm less and less convinced it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, you know what? I'm holding out hope because I'm after a spiritual success at a Deus Ex. Look, I'm probably going to play and like it, but I'm worried as well. Yeah. But I hope that's just pre-game nerves. Because it's been built up. It's a game that right from day one, everybody's been pretty keen on, right?
Because Witcher 3 was such a great RPG. Like, it did everything right. It did DLC well. Their financial arrangements, they're not tied to an Ubisoft. They're not tied to one of these. So all the money goes back into the studio, basically. And so like,
did they make $4 billion on Witcher?
Probably.
They're Polish developers, so that's like $10 trillion. I like the Polish people. But
because it'd be euros, but at the same time, a lot of euros that'll get you a lot of play over in Poland, especially. Like
a lot of play.
You know what I mean? Like
but I think Cyberpunk. We've talked about this before. When occasionally we go on the every so often occasionally movie rant. So the bottling lightning. That's a concept you say a lot. Can they bottle lightning again? So can Cyberpunk's at least it's a different setting and everything. So they haven't tried to put that pressure on themselves. But yes, considering the way Witcher was received, and it was received across the board. I mean, originally, remember the stories came out as like complaining about the non-diverse people in it. How like you're in Poland. I mean, come on. But it's Polish mythology effectively. So what else were you expecting? Kotaku. But it was still universally loved. Like male and female gamers loved it pretty much. Maybe more female.
Well, my sister my sister the main two games she's played in the last 3 or 4 years was Witcher through. She's 100%ed it. Done all the DLC of that, and the other one was Red Dead Redemption. And I'm like, so they're both time periods that appeal. They're both rugged characters. They have good character interactions with other people. They have interesting, diverse casts as far as like having these stories told from this kind of period and stuff like that. Plus, The Witcher gets away with being dark mythos, like dark mythology, whereas a lot of other ones it has to be light, it has to be thing. Yeah. You remember all the Grimm brothers and all their fairy tales were real dark, man. The crowds are dark, you know what I mean? And so these were warning stories for children. Don't play near the well, or you'll get dragged down by the drowners. Like, don't play near the well because you're a kid and you can't.
Polish crowds.
No, but like that whole area. Look, don't
call them Ukrainians.
Here we go.
They let me call Ukrainians.
I'm gonna get taken out of context. I'm cancelled next week. I'll do my special with Geordie the week after.
My relatives, don't
yeah.
Friendly Jasons.
Yeah. But that whole area has these, because they're all Hungary, all those areas. They have these mythos to stop kids from doing X. You know what I mean? Don't if you see a snake near your chickens, it'll turn into a basilisk. No, you just don't want snakes near your chickens because they'll kill your chickens and eat them. So get them the fuck out of there.
Yeah, there's always
chase the snakes away. Yeah,
it's like Bible stories and other fairy tale stuff, right? It's always lessons. It's always trying to in the lack at one point in history, the lack of school.
Yes,
it's trying to teach people in a way that they'll receive it. How to do things in a good way, or in a safe way.
Well, like I say to anyone, is like Aesop's fables. I mean, when I was a kid, like all those were just great little moral lessons. You know what I mean? Like. Don't be greedy. Don't take for granted. Don't catch your chickens before they're hatched. All those kind of things.
Yeah, if an old lady has a house made of lollies, it's probably
that's a grim brother. But Aesop's fables, that was always that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, look. So Witcher was something that was so widely well received.
Yeah.
Yes, it will be interesting to see if Cyberpunk, because it is set up a little bit for failure, because as Nick said there on chat, everybody's going to call it a Deus Ex. It's going to call it a Deus Ex ripoff. Yeah. Not really, actually. In a way, they're not going to say it's a ripoff, but they're going to be people like me who are craving another Deus Ex. Now, if it turns out that it's not, it's going to be a bit of a letdown. It's not the game's fault. If it turns out to be not as good as Witcher, so the Witcher fans have come over because it's CD Projekt Red. It's going to be a letdown, but it's not its fault again.
Plus, it's a first-person shooter, so I don't know how that's going to translate across to, you know what I mean? Like,
it's it will be. Look, I think it'll be. Yeah, look, pre-game play jitters, I would say I have. But it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Good luck to them. I hope it's great. I mean, I did see it.
I hope I'm wrong. I always say that if I'm being a Debbie Downer, just assume that I'm happy to be wrong. I'm happy for someone to you said this was going to be shit, and I was wrong. Good, I'm glad. It's a great game. That's awesome. But I'm usually not. Like, that's the sad part. Is like usually my cynicism is founded in some kind of reality. So
look, I think if the cynicism is just hatred based on an identity or a name, then yes, it's going to be dumb. But if it's based on sort of looking a little bit deeper into it, then yes, you can say, well, maybe there's a reason for it. And too many people in the first basket, basically.
Well, that said, if Peter Molyneux makes a game, I'm not assuming it's going to be good. So,
Molyneux gets a bad rap now, but he's a lot of friends have joined him in the last couple of years. It's complete clown developers. But anyway, okay. So talking clown developers, what is it? Avengers, blah 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 blah. Okay. Microsoft should buy Square Enix.
I mean, there's worse ideas. They've got the money at the moment.
Now, Cyberpunk 2077. Sorry, that's where I was going because I was trying to read my notes because they're very small, right? I don't have my glasses.
The glasses are there.
Yeah, I know, but they shine on the light, so it's a little bit. Anyway, so I look old enough already. But another thing with Cyberpunk 2077, they announced the DLC won't be announced. They've announced that the DLC won't be announced until after the game's launched. And I thought, how far have we come from? Do you remember the old days when people were like, if there was day one DLC, everyone just cracked it, just lost their minds, and now it's like. The announcement of the DLC is something people are looking forward to. Like, what DLC is going to come out for this game? We've come a long way in maybe 3 years.
It does go back to that Witcher conversation of, like, people trust that they're going to do the right thing because it's that. You know what I mean? Like, so if let's say...
If it was Electronic Arts, we'd be looking
exactly, different. Well, it would be. People would be like, oh, fucking hell. Like, you know what I mean? Because they assume it's going to be bullshit. Like, Far Cry 3, the DLC, was, it's going to be a Mars mission and a Vietnam mission, and there was another one. But you play them, and they're like these weird. They're not like open world similar style games. here's this open area, the Vietnam one, you have to escape. You have to escape and rescue POWs and get to this point, right? And so it's basically just like an extended combat mission, which is fine, considering it was 3 DLCs for an extra $20 or whatever, which, isn't bad value for money. But I agree with you. You have like Half-Life. Half-Life was one of the first ones to really do the expansion pack. And then you had Counter-Strike and you had all these things, which were transformative works. Do you know what I mean? Like, Counter-Strike changed what, Team Fortress changed what, and these all came, obviously, a lot of them came from the modding community and stuff like that as well. But, like, these are transformative experiences, and I think with Witcher, it's, set in a new island with the same quality, with the same level of quality of voice acting and quality of interaction. So, CD Projekt Red have that mojo to get away with that.
Okay, so it's a trust thing at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
No, fair enough. Because I did think it was interesting because I do remember not so long ago there was a DLC announced soon after the game came out. Yeah. Then everyone was going, "Why the hell wasn't it in the game originally?"
It doesn't now. Like Call of Duty comes out and it's got the 4 packs. They're all going to be multiplayer packs. Like we did go through that real painful period where, like, Max Payne 3. I remember Max Payne 3. I loved it so much. I bought the special editions. I bought the season pass.
I like Max Payne.
Yeah, and it was all multiplayer stuff.
Not a good movie.
It was all multiplayer shit, and I'm like, I didn't play Max Payne for the multiplayer, so why is it all multiplayer shit? Like, why not give me a story back in New York or something like that? Why not show me these other facets of the story?
Well, see, that's where the DLC should be used, and so Deus Ex would be great. Just keep adding chapters to the story, keep adding them until people stop buying.
And it's funny because
that's how you could do it.
Halo even tried to do that, and no one embraced it. And I think it can be done. It's just we're so used to the other model that people are leery around it. Like they're really concerned that.
Well, the other model's dead.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump to another story I had because you know how they on this look from the Sony side of the console war. I hate that term. There's this talk of $70 games and all that sort of stuff. And when I mentioned,
when you say $70, I mean $125 Australian.
Well, okay, $70 US games. Whereas meanwhile over on the Microsoft side, you got Game Pass, and I actually. There was a rumor. I reckon Game Pass is going to find another big thing soon. But anyway, I'll get to that later because but where was I going with that? I've forgotten. I was talking that up. xCloud. Okay, now there's next year apparently there's an xCloud app going to be coming out for smart TVs.
Right.
Which means you don't need an Xbox.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Now this is where we've sort of for the last couple of decades have a couple of consoles, and this idea of console generations, which I hate, it's just the dumbest thing. But it's the 9th console generation. That's just wank, right? But but generally the whether it was Sega, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, they've all been bringing out consoles, right? Whereas what you're seeing now is Microsoft with this xCloud app, and if it's coming to smart TVs. Yes, Microsoft are bringing out consoles, but their eye is clearly on game streaming.
Yeah.
And they're one of only 3 companies in the world outside of China who can do this, that have the infrastructure. It's Microsoft, Google, and Amazon. And I don't believe Google and Amazon are going to succeed because they don't understand it.
No.
Simple as that. Google doesn't understand this industry, and Amazon. Look, outside of selling and infrastructure, Amazon's not good at it. There's some things just not good at.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I love their stuff. I use their stuff, but but Microsoft do, and their Azure setup can do this on the fly. Do it really well. So not on the fly, but do it really well. So this xCloud app coming for smart TVs, which I believe would be where Microsoft wants to go, where its future is. That to me is a significant thing because we end up with, if you've got the 3 console companies now, Nintendo portable, Microsoft on anything, literally, if they can get past app stores and that, and Sony's going to be the one that's the dinosaur making old, like, superheated consoles. So, but the Microsoft announcement to me is significant.
The only thing I would say is, like, I think you're right in the sense that it will allow access to everyone, but there's always going to be that latency and controls and all that kind of stuff. The thing is, that's only ever going to affect people who, who care about that kind of stuff. And as a result, the people who do care about that kind of stuff will have already bought a console or a PC anyway. So it's not going to affect them. But, like, you can play Gears Tactics with a second delay on the controls. Like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, you can.
Like,
you could pay $15 a month.
Yeah.
Get yourself Game Pass.
Yeah.
And if all you need is an app on your phone or your PC,
all the tactical RPGs on there. The only ones you could probably struggle with, fighting games you couldn't do, shooters would struggle, racing games would struggle. Basically everything else, you know, but again, realistically, the kind of people who are interested in action games and all that. Okay, if Dad wants to buy Forza, he can spend $700 on Xbox. He doesn't give a fuck. Do you know what I mean? So he doesn't care. Your average fighting game player doesn't care. They'll buy it, right?
Yeah.
And then if not, they've got them all on PC anyway. All these players from these specific demographics are more likely to buy Xbox anyway. But if it's mum playing puzzle games and stuff like that, if she's playing, and I'm not saying this to get myself cancelled, but realistically, that there's a demographic there. You have that as part of it. It is. Yeah. It's what Apple TV wanted to be. You know what I mean, with the games library that they failed success thing. If you have that with Microsoft, and Sonny's got his $20 Game Pass a month sub, but it also covers mum playing games on the thing. Like, if
it's a smart TV app, I think it's going to be something else. To be honest,
for sure.
Now, and it won't work for everything, but I can see definitely three different unique offerings by the three different console makers. So the old days are gone. That's where I'm going with this.
For sure.
And I don't think Google and Amazon are going to
make anything. So I agree.
In fact, I'm surprised Google's still around. In the Stadia stuff.
It is that interesting. I don't know, just more and more you hear about Google, the more they're just making bad calls at the moment. And it's not like they made lots of good calls in the early days, but even by those standards, they're making some bad calls.
Now, Fortnite. Let's go with this segue. Okay, now I was talking about Game Pass just then. Fortnite has introduced a monthly subscription which gets you 1,000 V-Bucks per month and a couple of costumes and
exclusive costumes too.
It's exciting, and it costs $11.99 US per month to play Fortnite. Yeah. You're basically buying a V-Bucks gift card every month.
I know this because Don used it as a part of his quiz thing. On the episode, the recent episode that we filmed. So I was like, he's like, how much would 12 months of the Fortnite subscription cost?
$195.36 Australian converted. Almost $200 per year to get a 1,000 V-Bucks gift card.
Yeah, by 12, so you get, And how much is 1,000 V-Bucks?
I wouldn't have a clue. I don't go near the game because it's dumb. And I don't know why people play it. They should stop playing Fortnite, people, seriously. And I'll give you another reason to stop playing Fortnite in a moment, because you know how called Tim Sweeney the Donald Trump of video games? He's outdone himself.
$11.95, so basically $11.95 Australian.
So you're basically buying 1,000 V-Bucks a month.
Plus then $3
It's
extra.
A subscription of V-Bucks. So anyway, so $200. Okay, now compare that to Game Pass, right? Because this is where I wanted to go with this. So Game Pass is what's that Australian right now for Game Pass? $15.
That's a good question. Game Pass.
Well, $1 for you because you bought 2 years at $1 a month or something like that. So
you can actually find 12 months Xbox things out at the moment. If you buy it through G2A, who are dodgy AF.
Aren't they stealing credit cards and doing that?
But I mean, if they're stealing off Microsoft, you feel less bad. So I can only buy as a gift.
Buy as a gift. Okay, how much is it?
So
go through your password.
It's not going on stream, luckily, so that's fine. I already got it saved anyway. So 3 months is $47.95. Okay, so 48 divided by 3. So
it's about the same cost. So
about $16. Yeah.
So Game Pass Ultimate, which will include xCloud, it includes all the Electronic Arts games from EA Play.
Yep. I wouldn't be surprised if Ubisoft was another one that.
Okay, well that was where I was going to go. With rumor in a moment, right? Yes, that was my.
Because Rainbow Six is on there. And
don't read my notes.
Again, I pay attention to this stuff.
But just to wrap that, you can basically buy Fortnite you can buy 1,000 V-Bucks per month in this Fortnite subscription for the same price effectively as you're going to pay for about 200 games on Xbox and have xCloud and all that. Yeah. I don't know who would pay that, but I think they need treatment.
Yeah. Because it really is. It's such good value, and everyone, because my argument is, even if it is a marketing tool, even if I'm being cynical, right, and I go, cool, The Witcher's on there, but you got to pay for The Witcher DLC, right? So The Witcher DLC goes on special every so often for like $25 for the two of them, $30 for the two of them. That's still worth 80 hours of gameplay of what is a solid, well-written game. The Mutant Year Zero, their DLC goes on special, $15 every so often. New character, new campaign. Okay, that's worth it. Considering I didn't pay for it in the first place, and it's $15 for the new
campaign. The DLC for the ones you like anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's a great value proposition. But compared to Fortnite, geez, if you pay $200 to play Fortnite, seriously, you need to check into a place to get your head. If you play Fortnite anyway, you probably need to check in to get your head.
Okay, boomer. Yeah.
It's a ridiculous game. Anyway, now Ubisoft, because you've gone.
I didn't mean to spoil. It just makes sense to me.
It's good we're on the same page because now there was a big Twitter outrage, which there normally is. That's what Twitter does. It's how they make their money. It's how they keep people engaged. There are not 700 million monthly Twitter users. It's about 30.
But if you do they reckon 700 million a month?
They reckon 700 million active Twitter users. Absolutely not that.
If you said 100 million. I could half believe it. I could genuinely half believe it from people just getting it for news, from people just, outside of America existing in it. 700 million, I think you're delusional. I think you're
most of it's bots. Let's be honest. It's bot. You can see in every thread. You can see like hundreds of exactly the same things. It's clear they're bots. They're all using. I'm pretty convinced. They're all, don't sue me, Amazon. Pretty sure you're convinced they're using Lambda. I've done a little bit of that sort of experimenting on Lambda, and it can be done so easy. Anyway, let's not go into that.
Let's not get Gerard sued. Yeah.
But look, I'm pretty sure it has. But that's all. It's all bots, and Twitter knows. Yeah. Twitter's okay with it. That's why I have their very inconsistent rules. They're only trying to control who has the bots because they exist to influence the influencers. If you know what I mean. So. Excuse me, coronavirus. Everything.
So sitting next to me, it's fine.
You're young, you'll be fine.
Is that how that works?
I'm old, I'll die. That's statistically. Anyway, so there's Twitter outrage about Assassin's Creed Valhalla at one point drops the frame rate. Have I got this right? Did you just say the Twitter fast? Okay, and the conspiracy theory was that Microsoft has hobbled Assassin's Creed Valhalla on the
people winged to Spencer.
PlayStation 5.
People winged to Spencer and said, "Yo, what the hell's going on with my frame rate on Valhalla?" He goes, "You know what? I'll look into it." He said something like that. He said, "I'll look into it." Right? He looks into it. They bring out this patch. The patch is not optimized for PS5. Their frame rate drops. The patch optimizes it for Xbox. It runs it always ran okay, but it runs super well now on Series S. Right?
Yeah.
And so suddenly everyone's like, this SDF. So don't ever lie to me and tell me that the Sony Defense Force disappeared, because they fucking did.
No, they're a thing. Yeah, they're like ISIS and Al Qaeda.
And they had a great recruiting period. Like, they took down the twin towers that were the Xbox One and the Xbox 360. That was a recruiting drive.
It's a secret society that exists in this world.
Yeah.
It's like the
Sony Defense Force.
Bilderberg Group, the Skull and Bones.
I believe more in the Sony Defense Force than I do in the Bilderberg Group. I'm putting that out there. But just based on Twitter outrage,
you're in trouble.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyway, moral story is that they've come out and accused, why is Ubisoft sucking up to Microsoft to make it better? It's like, well, again, like I've said from the start, Sony has this unique memory adapter, this custom memory adapter. And the second you put custom firmware in there, people have to code for it. And any company worth its salt is going to make that the lowest priority, because they're going to try and reach as wide an audience as they can. So it's going to be Xbox and PC, because they're very similar architecture, like it's just an AMD architecture. And PS5 is an AMD architecture with this memory controller. So it's like, suddenly you've added this step that they have to learn to code for, and if they don't code for it, it doesn't work properly.
Well, the conspiracy theory that Microsoft hobbled it on the PS5. Now look, I did read that and I thought that's an interesting one, because it made me think of the Microsoft's claim we talked about last week, where games from Bethesda will run better or best on an Xbox than on anything else. Just say PlayStation, guys.
Yeah.
So I thought that's interesting, and what I was thinking was, I wonder if underlying all that is actually the suspicion, or maybe a bastardized rumor in a way, that the next one to join Microsoft's stable, like EA Play, is Ubisoft, which is what you just said before. So we're thinking the same thing, but different.
They got Rainbow Six already. It wouldn't be hard to pull. I think some of these early Assassin's Creed games are available on Game Pass.
I think they all are. Yeah.
There's a fair few, because I know the 2D ones are.
The Watchdog ones are, I think.
Is it?
Watch Dogs games.
Oh, Watch Dogs 2's definitely on there. You're right. Yeah,
So,
you're right.
Well, they're almost there, but I'm pretty sure it's an EA.
Trials is on there. Trials Evolution's on there. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
when I own Trials Evolution, but yeah.
Anyway, so my thinking is that's actually what I think people are sort of That's actually a bastardization.
If you have that, and you have Ubisoft, because EA Play was an interesting proposition when they came out. They were coming off 360, which was such a strong console. It was the shooter console. It was it was a fighter console. And nearly every of those competitive / like macho games were on there, right? Then Xbox One stumbled so hard, people really underestimate how bad the Xbox One did, right?
I missed Don Matrix so much.
And luckily at that point in time you had smart people like House and Leighton and all these people just jumped on it and seized the opportunity, right? So EA announces that it's going to Microsoft. They sign this deal with them. Microsoft flubs it, sells half the consoles that PlayStation does, right? So I reckon this is the double down for them. This is them going, well, we've seen the strength, we've seen the growth and the recovery of the Xbox brand. Yeah. We've seen the recovery of that. If you can just, if we can incorporate that into your Game Pass thing, and instead of us having, so what it'll be is every $1 or every $2 from a Game Pass subscription goes to EA, is how it'll work, right? Because they've got access to all these games. So let's say they've got 20 million people. I think it's like 17 million or something like that.
6 times as many on Game Pass as is on Sony's one,
So you've got, so let's say you've got 20 million people.
We did the numbers last year.
Guaranteed 30 million people, $30 million a month. No questions asked, and people who want the newer games will still buy the newer games anyway. You know what I mean?
So if there's a Spotify style payment as well for playing and times, because Stadia, I'm pretty sure Stadia has a model where the developers get paid per playtime. Yeah, which they were complaining about, saying, "Well, what if that game's really short?" Well,
it's like YouTube videos. Suddenly, you've incentivized people to adapt to the medium over just making the videos.
You will find RPG style grinding come back on that.
Exactly.
I think where everybody was suspecting there, but not joining the dots properly, which you did and I did probably different ways, is Ubisoft. I reckon is the next one to join Game Pass.
I still think
as a package.
I still maintain there's still something going on with Sega. Because Sega have been supportive of Microsoft since the early days, and I think. There's still something going on there, but as far as like a big, large scale purchase out or a large scale that kind of Game Pass subscription, I would say there'll be some kind of ongoing deal with Ubisoft. It'll be the newest Assassin's Creed Valhalla, this is the thing. Because even if they look at it and they go, cool, let's pay $100 million to Ubisoft for this. People will buy that Game Pass sub. And then they'll be like, oh, fuck it, well, I might as well stay here and play it. And if they buy 6 months of Game Pass sub, it's the same money to them. Do you know what I mean? So, to me, I just see it as a no-brainer. And I think most people will move towards that model going forward anyway. So.
And you had xCloud into it. And, all right, cool. Now, one last one, because I didn't get him a page 2 here. I think we covered everything before I did it. Actually, on that, because some people are crazy, there's also another, did you see a controversial outrage because other people were complaining that PS5 games are outperforming the Xbox versions, and one of the ones they named was Assassin's Creed Valhalla. so either way,
console war bullshit.
Good, great. You bought a console. Well done. You spent money on one of the consoles. If it works for you, I'm happy for you. It doesn't mean
or you could be journo privileged and not pay for either of them.
Hi, Luke. no, Luke Plunkett.
No, I was going to say, that's rude. Jesus Christ.
The other Luke who watches the show might go, what am I being mentioned for?
Apparently he's getting into Series X now as well, so it's good on him.
Really. Look, I think if you're looking at purely value, right now you can't go past an Xbox with Game Pass. You just
either one. I don't know. I don't think it matters which one you get. There's so many last-gen games on Game Pass that even a Series S is worse at the moment.
Honestly, why would you buy a new PlayStation to play the old games, buy them again, when you can pay $15 a month and just play anything?
If Demon's Souls, if they'd said, hey, we're going to make PlayStation hits or whatever their attempt at Game Pass is for the PS4 games, and they said, but as a special treat, we're going to give you Demon's Souls, they might have got some sway, but they want you to pay $120.
People have done it. Yeah. Tons of people have. I do not understand how that is in any way something to. That's no value. Yeah. Anyway, it's. I know the SDF's going to be upset. I just can't believe how people make those decisions. I don't know. Is everybody running around with just millions of dollars in their pocket?
Apparently, no one's paid attention to the pandemic. So yeah.
Okay, all right. Now we mentioned Fortnite before, and I did say Tim Sweeney. Who I still believe Tim Sweeney is the Donald Trump of video games. He just mouths off with some amazing bullshit. He's up there. He's up there with Lorne Lanning. You know, one of my favourites.
Your mate, yeah.
Man, if I was doing video game awards show, I would give out video game awards for giant wanker, and Lorne Lanning would win most years. But Tim Sweeney has really put in he's put in a claim.
I remember.
You're aware of this one. Now, the latest by Tim Sweeney, he's comparing the Apple lawsuit to the civil rights movement.
Yes, I did see that.
He's gone on this big Twitter tirade, and one of the things he said is, along the lines of there are laws, but the laws are wrong, so it is not wrong to disobey them. And a few people pointed out that he's actually...
That's what Martin Luther King said, I'm pretty sure.
Exactly, yes. So he's actually virtually quoted Martin Luther King.
Yikes.
To compare that to, because that was from a letter Martin Luther King wrote from jail.
Oscar Schindler, Martin Luther King, Tim Sweeney, for sure. That's definitely not mental.
Tim, you need help. Look, I know. Look, he's a very wealthy man with a lot of money. I don't know how he can get off trying to force Apple to reduce the amount the commission they take on his sales. I don't know how he can compare that to the US
Jim Crow, Black Lives Matter, and Jesus Christ.
Now that is outrageous, Tim.
Oh my Lord!
And it's also is anybody paying attention? Because
someone at Epic has got to be setting. Just mute the mic.
At this point in his Twitter brings out the best in idiots, right? And like I said, this is Trump style. When he said, he's done most for black people, more for black people than what's his name? Lincoln.
Yes. Yeah.
So Tim, please just do what the orange guy should be doing as well, and just ease off Twitter for a little while, because that's an outrageous claim. Your Apple lawsuit is nothing like the civil rights movement. Don't compare the two. And I've got to say, I did enjoy Apple's big fuck you to him, where they said, "Fine, we will drop the commission
for all the indie devs." Yeah,
for anybody under $1 million.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's so smart. I'm just like. Yeah, that way your little guys, they can make their $1 million. They can support a small company.
Yep.
Easy done. Seen you get to a bigger company, and I'm sure if you said to them,
when you got 10-cent money, is it 10 cent the back
10 cent?
Yeah. When you got 10 cent money, you can't be complaining about commissions you pay. Also, when you have your own store, I know it's not on the phone, but he does have his own store.
Yeah. Because that's the thing to me. Let's say he was only on the App Store, and then they started pulling this, right? But I mean, he knew what he was signing up for when he did it. He could have made for all these other platforms. That's why the antitrust suit won't work against him. There's things to get Apple for antitrust. Be it, like safety laws. Be it, the use of the independent plugs. All these things. There's definitely things you can get Apple for. The one thing you can't get it for is, why can't I access your store on my terms? Like, you have Microsoft Store, Nintendo Store, your own store, Android Store. Anything that'll play Fortnite, you've got access to.
And you know what,
PC,
Tim, make your own phone OS if you really feel
it. Yeah. Microsoft did. Microsoft put up and shut up, so yeah.
Yeah, well, then they
ruined it.
Shut. Yeah, I was going to do it the reverse, but it comes out exactly the same.
Yeah. Well, that was Matrick as well. So I would say Matrick. That was Matrick.
Oh, yeah. Matrick is a god among men. The amount of damage he did, it is just staggering.
And then he got a job as Zynga CEO. He was there for like 10 years.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. So they knew he was shit. They hired him, and then he went on to
CEO was Obama.
What? As in Barack Obama.
Steve Barack Obama.
Yeah.
No, Obama, Steve Ballmer.
Ballmer, yeah.
Oh, however you say it.
Yeah, so he worked at EA, I knew that, and then he worked at Microsoft.
So Matrick was at EA as well.
Yeah.
God, that's just a legendary.
Then he went to senior VP, and then he fucked that up, and then he went to Zynga. And by 2015, Zynga was struggling to make the intended games on the mobile
Farmville.
market.
He went to the Farmville.
Farmville, correct.
Ah, well, that suits him.
Yeah. On April 8, 2015, it was announced that Matrick had resigned as Zynga's CEO, effective immediately. 2 years. Took him 2 years to ruin Farmville, i.e. the one that your mum wasted everyone's feed on, and he went and ruined them within 2 years.
It's actually staggering how much damage Matrick did. That is quite amazing.
Matty Goodwin reckons it's he'll start doing Gandhi next. So we should take odds. Which historical figure. Will Tim Sweeney... You know what? I don't think anyone understands Tim Sweeney's struggle. He's comfort. I don't think anyone understands. That's the one I'd.
Well, actually, he's like anti. It's a non-violent protest.
Yes,
so,
that's true. Yeah,
he is very.
And when
like
Tim Sweeney starts sleeping next to
like
15-year-old girls,
so my later say the bad things.
I always
Mother Teresa will be next.
You want to talk another scumbag?
Causing people pain. They have to play Fortnite. Suffering brings you closer to God. Play Fortnite.
Lord. And that's when we get cancelled for. Well, I don't know. Like we're both
Indian.
We're both edgelord atheists, 100%. And so it is always funny when you see. Again, I always think Gandhi righted himself in the end, but geez, look up his early thoughts on the Africans. Hey, oof. Like,
well, just going to show nobody's all good or all bad.
Yeah.
So you have to.
That's like honestly, if Blair Cottrell turned around and started running a charity, that's what Gandhi did.
He's gonna need to do a fair bit. He's coming from a long way behind.
He is. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Anyway, so okay. Well, I'm probably it from gaming news, and anybody who's watching this,
there you go. Ask not what you can do for your games, what your games can do for you. There you go.
I like that from Simon. I've already sent Simon a T-shirt. So
can't send him another one.
Another one. Actually, I will say something. I haven't run this past you yet, but I'll say it now. I'd like our top fans first. You know how you get a top fan badge?
Yeah.
Do we know who they are?
I think we can look it up.
Okay, I want the first people with the top fan badge, 10, to go to the shop.newgameplus.tv, have a look at the t-shirts, send us a message with your size. If you're one of the first 10 top fans of New Game Plus to do that, I'll send you some t-shirts and a hat. For Christmas.
We also got some
it'll cost you nothing.
I'm not going to spoil it. We are going to do that for Game of the Year as well.
So there you go. So our happy viewers are going to get some stuff.
Yes.
So, but you have to be a top fan. I want first 10 will get it.
Yeah. Well, let's give them a week to comment on stuff to get the top fan badge going.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll start next week.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Done.
All right. Is there anything else?
Go to our Facebook page. Go to Facebook page. New Game Plus TV. All one word on Facebook, on Twitter. Okay. Anything else? I don't have anything else.
No, I'm just going through this. Tomorrow is EDF. Cardi's doing Dark Souls Wednesday.
Oh, yep.
Show record Thursday.
Yep.
Not this weekend, coming the weekend after is the Couch Warriors finale. So the Couch Warriors League finale, so do check that out as well.
Do I have to do anything for that?
I think you're off the hook for a week.
Yay!
Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay.
And then...
Simon, I already sent you some t-shirts.
Our game of the year...
Use a fake name. Use a fake account. I've got 60 of them.
Our game submission goes in... our game of the year for our personal ones goes in on Thursday. And then we're going to reach out to the community for theirs as well and do a special.
So another chance to get some New Game Plus merch for Christmas. You can look stylish. Well, you're not really supporting the show because we send it for free.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, wearing it is supporting the show. You get the word out there. Otherwise, I don't think there's much else to cover. I think we're Gucci.
Yeah, cool. And soon the show is going to be on Channel 31 if you're watching this.
So if you're watching us now in an hour and a half's time, so go get some dinner.
An hour and a half? Oh, we could talk for ages. Yeah. Anyway, cool.
Well, like I say, Monday nights are free at the moment, so we can definitely go longer if you want to... we can start later, watch the show, or like on thing we can stream it live.
Turn into a political and conspiracy theory podcast.
And
then we'll start bagging.
We'll get ourselves into trouble.
Yeah, we'll start bagging historical figures and it'll be friendly news, Game Plus, sort of shenanigans. So, anyway. Yes, if we ever have a child, we'll call it that.
Weird. Weird.
Anyway, cool. All right. So newgameplus.tv, the website. Go there, have a look at all the old podcasts, all the old videos. Everything's there. New Game Plus TV, all one word, on pretty much every social media network, except Parler and Gab. Sorry, maybe coming soon.
Yeah. I did start a subreddit the other day. I haven't populated it, but I need to start it. Yeah, I forgot I need to go in that road.
We've also got a half-done Patreon page we should finish.
True, we should definitely, for sure.
You've seen some people make a lot of money on Patreon.
Honestly, I'll put it to you like this: if I was making a couple $100 out of Patreon every month, that would be enough for me to basically do it full time. It sounds strange to say that, but I do okay enough on my other side gigs that's all I would need. I wouldn't need $10,000 a month. Nice if people paid us $10,000 a month to make the show. And I'm pretty generous with my exclusive stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty good with my exclusive stuff because I can write off all the tax anyway. You know what I mean? Like,
I do that too.
That's how it works. Yeah. If it's a business expense, then you know. Yeah. Anyway, that's enough talk of tax.
It's legal.
Yeah, I'm gonna get.
If you don't like it, change the freaking laws. Yeah. It's no use complaining. Make the laws work properly. Yeah. And anyway,
agree. Anyway, end it there. All right. Thanks for watching. We'll see you all later.